So what we're going to do tonight, seeing as how we went through the engage part of the 1, 2, 3, 4 rule of 4 best practices, remember?
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to focus on number 2 part of it, and that's movies, the mobile optimized video site. And that's what you have in your hand on your iPhone.
All right, cool.
All right, so we're going to break it down. There is a logo at the top. I'm having it changed tonight, by the way. So when you look at it tomorrow, it'll be a lot nicer, a lot cleaner look. But basically, it's saying that the most effective form of communication is face-to-face, and it's a two-way dialogue where I talk and I ask you questions. Do you understand, Doug?
Yeah, I do. And I can see it on your site. There's two-way to it, yeah.
And when we talk about call to action symbol, what does that mean to you, Doug?
Call to action. That means that we basically talk on how to take action, right?
Well, specifically, it's that step number 1 in the graphic we went over in lesson number 1. It's that 2-inch by 3.5-inch graphic that can be printed on the back of a business card. That is the call to action symbol trademark. So write that down on your piece of paper. That's one of the products we're selling. Okay. So that's trademark, that's a product, that's what a call to action symbol is. That's what we do unique better than anybody on the face of the earth.
Okay. Call to action is a product.
Yep. So you should get to know that as well as you know your own name, okay?
Yeah. It's a product that we're selling, okay. And it's a hashtag, right?
No. It's that 2-inch by 3.5-inch graphic.
Gotcha. A 2.5-inch graphic.
No, 2-inch by 3.5-inch.
Oh, okay. 2-inch by 3.5-inch graphic.
So it's standard business card size.
Okay, standard business card size.
And you remember, it's just I hit you with so much information in the first lesson, right? That's the one that was 1, 2, 3, go. You remember we went through that?
Yeah, I remember. I just
then we went into the unique value proposition box. You remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And then we went into the logo box. You remember?
Yeah, logo box. Yep, we did. And
on the right side, we had 2 lines above the QR code, and it was a QR code inside there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Speaking of QR codes, I've been doing quite a bit of research into them today. There's a lot of websites that allow you to, if you put your link to your sites or to your social media sites, they generate one for you. Have you seen those sites?
Oh, of course. Didn't I tell you I'm #1 expert in the world?
Yeah, and speaking of which, I've kind of done some practicing in which I've gone onto my YouTube channel and I looked for videos that really haven't been as successful, as previous ones, or ones that are only like less than 10 seconds long, because I sometimes post those. And I've used those links to create some QR codes for them for the book that I'm working on.
My suggestion, Doug, please, when you work with me, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we had a long discussion about amateurs go off cocky, and that's how they make all these ugly failures, and they give QR codes a bad name.
Yeah, the links that I've sent you are the videos that are like super important, like my trip to Arches.
What I'm saying to you is that all this effort you spent today doing that, I wish you never did any of it.
Oh, you wish I wouldn't have. Okay.
Okay, other than reading and learning, that's fine. But when you create QR codes with amateur freebie software, you're no better than 90% of the population who are amateurs who do it absolutely wrong.
Oh, okay. So, all right, then I guess I can probably stop doing that then. I'll just get rid of those sites then.
Yeah, get rid of the QR codes. Because what you're doing is, #1, you're producing naked and alone.
Yeah, and that's something that we talked about. All right, then I'll get rid of those codes then.
Yeah. So the right side, that's exactly what you do not want to do. And that's what 90% of the people, including Walmart, 90% of the people use freebie software, and some 24-year-old snot-nosed kid creates it on his own, and the program fails, and it gives him a bad reputation.
Okay, so do not want to do. Use freebie softwares and go off on my own. Okay, there we go. Now I've gotten that written down.
Okay, Doug, I get you back?
Yeah, I'm back now. Yeah.
Right.
So I just wrote it down. Do not want to do. Use freebies and go off on my own. I just wrote that down.
Okay, so Jim Bailey, who's my partner in Denver, was trying to come in and join us, and that's why we lost the call. So I'm not criticizing you to be insulting. I'm criticizing naked and alone QR codes, because that's why all the people who speak negative about it, it's because the amateurs went off and did it on their own without having training. It would be like taking an 8-year-old and letting him drive your car after having 6 drinks, right?
Yeah, and I see your point. I'm not insulted. I'm a guy who I can take constructive criticism, and I think that's what it is in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're here to train. We're here to train so that you can become the best, most knowledgeable in the world, and you can earn your master's degree, and then you can answer the question when people say, gee, I did some research on QR codes, and there are hundreds of programs out there that are free. Why do you charge $79 for your call to action symbol?
And the reason you do is because you know better than those, softwares that are free.
Right. And you need to walk them through, do any of those educate people? No. Are all of those naked and alone? Yes. Do any of those give you measurement ROI tracking? No. So, you just take them point by point by point, and you say, was Picasso a painter? Yes. Can you go buy a can of Dutch Boy at the local hardware store and become a painter? Sure you can. But you think there's a difference between you and Picasso? If you don't think so, then your ego is too big for your head.
Yeah, and just because you know some stuff about painting doesn't mean you know everything. That's for sure.
And that's what we're dealing with, Doug. We're trying to make sure that we come across as the experts that we actually are once we get the training. Yeah. And I've spent 10 years getting the training and the knowledge so that I could make sure that my clients go out and succeed instead of, have their amateur failures.
Yeah.
It makes sense?
Yeah, and it makes sense. I won't do that again as far as, wandering off alone.
All right. So let's move back to, the two-way communication. That was what I was talking about. Yeah. So the most effective way is communication is exactly what we're doing. It's back and forth, back and forth. You talk, I listen. I talk, you listen. That's the number one way for communication. Plus, we're doing it eyeball to eyeball because we're doing it video. The number 2 way for communication is doing the same thing, but doing it just audio.
Yeah.
Number 3 would be what?
Let me look back on my notes very quick. Let's see.
Just give me an answer based on your experience.
Let's see. You said it was audio, video, and...
No, number 1 was video back and forth, which we're doing.
Yeah, video back and forth.
Number 2 is audio back and forth.
Okay.
So what would number 3 be?
Number 3, let me think.
It's called YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. It's video one way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So can you imagine if we took the number 3 communication effectiveness, and that's YouTube.
Yeah.
And we turned it into the number 1 communication effectiveness, which is dialogue.
Yep.
That would be huge, wouldn't it?
It definitely would be, yeah.
And that's exactly what we can do.
Awesome.
All right. Now, a week number 4, and I'm sorry because you're an author, a week number 4 is communicating with print.
Okay. A week Number 4 is communicating with print.
And I'd say week number 5, because the week number 4 would actually be communicating with a graphic, right?
Yeah. 5 is
So there's the 5 most effective ways to communicate. And the reason somebody wants to spend $79 with us is we're going to get them up communicating on number 1 instead of number 5.
Yeah, okay. So we're getting them to communicate number 1 instead of number 5. Number 5, which is why they're paying $75.
79.
Yeah, 79, yeah. 79. Okay.
Which is why I promised you when you publish your book, it's going to be the first two-way communication print book in the history of the world.
Yeah, and that's going to be awesome, yeah.
It's going to be very awesome. All right, so all of those social media icons up front is with using the tools that we're talking about tonight and that we're offering to your friends, family, clients, customers, professors, all the people that you know, NASCAR, race car drivers, sponsors. We can take anything that is a video or a print material or a sticker on a race car or a TV broadcast or a business card or a real estate sign.
Yep.
Or vinyl wrap. I mean, have I gone long enough? We can take anything that is printed material or an image or video and turn it into a two-way interactive dialogue. That is huge news. It's earth-shattering in terms of how it changes the communication effectiveness of people in the world.
Definitely.
All right. So that's what the graphic in the top says, all with one picture, that we've been beaten to death here for the last, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Have you got it? Do you have any questions?
I think I'm good from what I've read. I've taken the notes that I needed, so
All right.
yeah. So
now move down. Go ahead. You had a question?
So the number 1 would be YouTube for communication, second would be dialogue, and third would be audio, right?
No, number 1 is two-way video communication, which is what we're doing right now.
Okay. Okay.
Number 2 would be audio to audio two-way communication, which would be if we both turned our cameras off.
All right, got it.
Number 3 is YouTube, which is one-way video communication.
Yeah, because people can't talk to you or you can't see them. That would be YouTube, okay.
Right. Number 4 is if we put call to action symbols inside videos that we produce and then publish them on YouTube, we can actually turn a YouTube video into a two-way communication vehicle. So we can take it from number 4 all the way back up to number 1.
Yeah, definitely. And that's awesome. All right. So I got my notes then. So what next? Remind me what hot link means again.
It's when you see a URL, which is, www.abc.com, and it's an underlined and it's in blue. So when you click on it, it takes you there.
Okay.
And here's my tagline. You want to read it to me?
Oh, bringing the offline world to your online presence.
That's what we do. If somebody says, what do you do for a living? Well, we bring the offline world to your online presence. And then you shut up. That's what we do.
Okay.
And I just got through explaining it to you. Anything that is print or video or an image, we can use that vehicle to bring people offline, because all those are offline, to your online presence.
Yeah, that's a clever.